So for me, I started out overly kind, giving, understanding, nice, until somebody did something that felt like they weren't even appreciating me, right? And all of the effort I'd gone to. And then guess what happened? I went clear to the other end of the line and did the firmness piece. You know, Yogi, when I was thinking about our talk today and kind of preparing my brain a little bit, I went back to the very first tool card we have in our deck, which is the 5 criteria for empowering people. So when I look at those 5 criteria, all of the tools have to go through that filter. All 5 things have to be met. And therefore, it's like, and I can say them really quickly if you think that would be helpful.
Please.
Yeah. So the first one is each tool has to help members of the team feel a sense of belonging and significance. So for me, this is part of being a leader, is understanding other people and what they need and what motivates them. So we all want to belong. I'm part of the tribe. People care about me. The significance piece is different. We all want to contribute. We all want to be noted for something important that we bring, a strength that we have. And we want our team to hold us responsible to actually contribute that. Like not to sit with our arms crossed across our chests and know we could do it, but just be greedy about it, right? But actually contribute. So the second one is kind and firm at the same time, which means I'm kind to you and I'm firm about my own boundaries. So there's that mutual respect piece. Here's one. It's effective long term. So we know what works in the short term. We know punishing people, calling them out, shaming them. It stops the behavior. Praising them constantly increases that behavior. We know that from behavioral science. But this says it's effective long term. And that means that it's developing and modeling for people who we know they have the capacity to become. Helps people actually develop the skills and qualities we know they need. That's number 4. And number 5, the tool has to help people understand how capable they are. So when you have that foundation as your base and you're standing on that as a leader, granted, you're not going to be perfect. But if what you're doing is focused on those 5 areas, you're going to be in pretty good shape, in my mind.
Yeah. It's the timepiece, Dina, what you just said. I remember being a leader and things were happening around us, right? It may be in restaurants or when I was doing my training business or operating a school. When you're understaffed or when you are overwhelmed or you just want to fix the problem, these types of situations, having these types of tools would be really helpful in creating that positive environment that we hope to create.
And, you know, Yogi, I think to your point, there are emergency situations in which we are sometimes called upon to stand closer to the continuum line of firmness. Yeah. So it's on fire now. I'm going to put the fire out. Either in reality or metaphorically, I'm going to put the fire out. It doesn't mean I'm not going to circle back around and try to figure out what was the source of the fire, right? That's going to be a continual conversation with whomever. So I guess what I worry about sometimes when we talk about empowerment and we talk about positive discipline, I don't want people to get the impression that this is all sunshine and light, right? And that you have to be smiley and fakey about being positive. It doesn't mean that. It means positive guidance. It means take time for training, take time to connect, take time to think about yourself as a leader and what you want to bring forth, and watch out for the places where you're learning from those challenges.
So how would a leader who is now listening to this podcast or video, watching the video, and wants to sort of use some of these principles, moving from where they currently are and where they'd like to go? And you're right, you're talking about that firm and kind piece together. How would they begin their journey? How would they begin to take that shift towards having that firmness and kindness when they're either too firm or too kind or not even sure which way to go.
I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there who hear those words and they have absolutely no idea what we're even talking about, which was where I was in the beginning. So one suggestion I might have would be definitely take the training. Take empowering people in the workplace. It's probably one of the most affordable, valuable things you'll ever do for your own growth. You can do it online, you can do it in person, you can do it in 5 languages now. So there's really no excuse for anybody, in my opinion, not to just get the training. The other thing that helped me was to have an external coach, somebody who wasn't in the organization, with whom I met every week for at least a short period of time, who helped me kind of go back and untangle the challenges with people I had been having. And she helped me know my strengths, which is another thing I always have my coaching clients do. The Gallup Strength Finder Top 5 costs $20. It's invaluable information to have. What are my top 5 strengths? How do I provide the 4 things my followers want, which are trust, compassion, stability, and hope? It's just worth 100 times what you pay for it. And then also somebody who's going to help you notice your shortcomings, because that can be really hard for some of us to really admit where we need to shore up our skills or our understanding of ourselves and others. So that would be a way I would suggest to start. But claiming it also, it's like, I know that I want to do better and I'm willing to invest in myself.
Yes. So one of the things that we spoke about is this lingo that I used was firm and kindness. Could you share a little bit about what that means and its place in the workplace?
Yeah, it has a place everywhere. It has a place everywhere. Specifically for work, I will say that, again, I kind of mentioned earlier, if you think about a line that we might draw in the sand if we were on the beach, where kind is at one end and firm is at the other. We all know what they look like separately, but depending on the length of the line, there's a lot of space between the two where we have an opportunity to practice being both kind and firm. So what tends to happen with leaders is that they're either one or the other. So for me, I started out overly kind, giving, understanding, nice, until somebody did something that felt like they weren't even appreciating me, right? And all of the effort I'd gone to. And then guess what happened? I went clear to the other end of the line and did the firmness piece without good results. So I was either mad and stormed off. I got silent and thought, I'm done with you. It wasn't positive. So what I noticed is that when you are mutually respectful, both kind and firm, you have to respect your own needs first. Yes. And then you address the needs of the other person. And then there's the situation. Because just as I referred to earlier, some situations, if something's on fire, you have to protect people. You have to keep them safe. And so then you are firm. Whether you are kind or not, you are definitely firm because you want to keep people safe. So the needs of others, your needs, and the needs of the situation all have to be accommodated. And honestly, Yogi, there's only one way to get better at it, and that is to practice.
This is impactful and powerful because it reminds me of my coaching time with you as a leader. When there are fires and things, you just tend to go to that firm piece. And I remember being so firm because I wanted policies and procedures and things of that nature to be adhered to. Folks who couldn't meet some of those because they had their own perceptions, maybe they had their own ideas, and saying, well, but it's in the policy, it's in the handbook, and we all agree to it. Sometimes that's just not enough. And when we're firm and saying, well, it's on, and then we see, the pushback, or maybe we get the power struggle, or people who think, I just can't do it, I need to find another job. So I appreciate the piece between figuring out that balance, because in that moment, I really believed that I had to do that in order for our agreements and guidelines to matter because of the integrity of which we run operations. And then the piece more is that you could be firm or kind, but if you are not connected to folks, and finding that balance between the both chances are we're going to have other things that pop up.
Oh, yes. And Yogi, to your point, I mean, there were times when, I had to say as a director, I totally understand that you're uncomfortable with this. And I'm a little uncomfortable to say, if you can't make yourself comfortable with this, it's okay, but you're going to need to find another place. So it's tricky in these days because people are quitting right and left, and we want to retain our good people as much as we can. And there are some times when people just are not a good fit, and then they need to be released.
Yes, that's true. Sometimes we do prolong the process and we get stuck into the people business and just saying, oh, the possibilities, and having those conversations from the beginning and guidelines, the feedback, the one-on-ones, the importance of that. In a busy world, we have to make time for people. Otherwise, we're going to spend a lot of time fixing problems, like I think Brene Brown.
Yeah. So I just want to make the one comment before I forget. And what, to your point, a lot of these things will be helpful when you're in conflict. But the truth is, the things we teach are also extremely preventative. So when we have these tools in place, when we talk about agreements, when we understand people's different perceptions, when we have team meetings and can kind of see where everybody is in terms of challenges and ideas, it prevents a lot. So in terms of the long-term aspect of it, it really does prove to be helpful into the future when we have to spend less time doing the same thing over and over again.
Spending that time, the valuable time, taking the time to train, that's a great piece. And that creates a quality, even just day 101. We're understaffed, new person comes on board, and we invite them to shadow someone perhaps for a day or two, and things happen, and we say, come on in. I think it's similar to your experience. Someone has left, come on in. And maybe taking that time for that onboarding piece, which is a huge factor in company culture, introduction to the teams, the welcoming them to the community. Because I remember going to work for the first week and you're just trying to get your bearings in place. You don't even know where anything is or everything is. And that training is basically just adaptation that first week. And then the second week, perhaps you're open to learning a few more tools and taking that time and just creating that space and relationship opportunities for grow. Also, it sounds like the wonderful way of us creating all of these things we know. It's just sometimes difficult to manage them. And with taking the training, there's step-by-step ways that we can create this environment that's both respectful, but supportive to ourselves and to the community.
Absolutely.
If you like the content of this video, please don't forget to follow. And also, if you want more information, visit the website, yogipatel.tte.com.